Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News and plenty to discuss today. 100 Thieves in a very tough situation indeed after losing another online tournament. Serious questions being raised as to whether they might need major changes if they want to qualify for Challengers 2 in a couple of months' time. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Thanks for all the great support over the last month or so as well. Like a couple of thousand subs over the last 28 days. Fantastic stuff. First of all, there's also a new patch update that's coming next week, not this week it seems. Of course, it wasn't long ago we had a major patch update, right, which changed a lot of the meta. Valor Leaks reckons it's actually going to be, more agent changes coming soon indeed. So what could this be? Is it a jet nerf? I don't know. There's obviously been some things that have been rumored to happen. This finally did happen in this most recent one, but maybe more to come, right? Some tweaks or something they might do next week. You would imagine this isn't going to change what the meta is going to be, or at least they're probably not going to play it on this new update for the playoffs, right, especially in North America. That is certainly coming up next week. The European and other regions are scheduled, but of course there's questions about whether those teams can get the qualification games done in time, all this type of stuff. But yeah, you'd imagine this wouldn't affect things for now, but whether this has significant changes on the agent meta, right, going into something like Masters, right, and they actually keep the same patch or go to the new patch, definitely some questions still to be answered on this front. This also, just to mention, because some of you may have seen this tweet yesterday, Gambit lineup is on sale. This, I think some people thought this might be referring to their Valorant team, who of course yesterday decided they're going to actually be playing from independently from the Gambit organization, but supposedly this is talking about the Counter-Strike roster being up for sale. Of course, if the CS roster is up for sale, the question does remain there about the Valorant roster, right? Is that going to be up for sale at some point? Are they going to go and compete for another organization? Is that something they want to do, right? Given, as we talked about yesterday, the whole visa situation could be a bit of a problem. Wanted to mention this as well, because Seangares, of course, we talked about him yesterday. Riot deciding not to bring him in as a caster for some reason for Masters in Reykjavik, and he kind of explains his decision last night and kind of how things went down behind the scenes. I'll share about a minute or so of this. It's pretty tough to see, like in this state, right? He was obviously very frustrated with how things went on this front. He says he's talked to Riot for a long period of time to try and get his point across. Feels backstabbed to some degree, that he wasn't told about kind of the way that Riot operate earlier. The fact that the people he talked to are very understanding, but for whatever reason, the way Riot works internally and the corporation side of things, they want to go down a very different route to bringing the Seangares into the team, which I don't really think a lot of the community can understand.
You literally cannot get work in this scene, right? And I expressed all of this. I had several really, really long, hard phone calls, and I was like, I would work this event for free. I would work part of the event. I would do anything. I would do anything. And there was nothing. I don't know. There's nothing. And that makes me really sad, because I don't know. I've been here from the get-go, and I put in my all, and I just feel like kind of backstabbed, which is why I said it was heartbreaking to not get invited, because unfortunately Riot doesn't understand that there needs to be meritocracy in casting, and there just wasn't, right? Like, the casters at the top of the NA scene didn't get to go to extra events. They didn't get to do the things that are possible in other esports. And that's really unfortunate, because I think we could have done some cool things. I love everyone that I talk to at this company. Unfortunately, there's some structural things that are in place that don't allow them the freedom in the esports division that they need. Maybe they need more analytics to get more budget from corporate. I don't know. But it's just weird. It's weird.
Of course, that is the major question then. Where is Seangares going to go next? ShahZaM replied this to Seangares' tweet yesterday with, sick ShahZaM and Seangares right here on the Misfit stays. So, look, it just depends. So many tweets come out like this. It's like, if this happens, usually I would say, okay, they must be baiting. But, still, maybe not, because everyone seems to be replying to this with some sort of, tweet that could be interpreted as bait. So some of it must be true. I don't know. He also went to say on that video, I'll leave a link down below if you guys want to check out the entire thing, worth the watch, that he's basically he wants to put his all into his next role. He has another role lined up that he's going to put his all into. So, well, maybe it's going to be Sentinels coach. That's been what most people are, I guess, hoping for right now. There's probably a little bit of hopium flying around the timeline, but there's not much hopium left, it seems, for this 100 Thieves roster. Yesterday, the boys play up against Saw in the kind of Boom TV proving grounds. Of course, yes, online tournament, Mickey Mouse tournament, whatever you want to say, they didn't look good. They fall 2-0 in this series. Look, if you're losing to Saw like this, yes, they did beat Evil Geniuses just about to avoid the embarrassment of going 0-5 in the qualification games in kind of the group stage stages of, of Challenges 1, but of course it still wasn't good enough to qualify, right? And 1 in 4 is still pretty embarrassing, it must be said. So yes, 100 Thieves play up against Saw. They lose it pretty comfortably in this series, to be perfectly honest. Like, look, there's so many questions. What does this team have to do now? What is the problem with this roster? Like, what changes do they need to make? It's, I mean, look, many questions can be raised on this front, and of course they lose the game 1. They already go down 1-0 after the breeze. They go to Haven as well. They lose this map as well. Didn't even win a map in this series. Guess it's online, but everything is online right now, and all across the board things look pretty shambolic. The question is, do changes need to be made? I mean, Hiko manages to clutch this 1v1 and go up 1-0, but yeah, it doesn't help the team for the rest of the game. Apathy says 2-0 over 100 Thieves, and I mean, yeah, there was honestly a lot of trash talk hitting the timeline. Hiko says lost 2-0 to Saw. Next event for us is Knights tournament next week, so they're going to stick with the same roster for now. They still have plenty of time to figure things out, but just looking at this roster, it doesn't scream like it's going to be successful to me, especially like the way that Ethan is IGLing and Asuna on the Jet just doesn't seem to be so comfortable. They probably need a fair few changes, to be honest, if they want to make this work. And look, they got clowned for the changes they made before, but clearly they weren't having the problem with the team, I suppose. Eccles and babybay, whether you give this team more time, I don't know, but I don't really know if it's worth it, to be honest, right now. And even as Stella says, they should have played it like scrims, basically just talking trash on them, and as Asuna goes, my bad, beat-in, I'll let you win the scrims from now on. So he's basically like, Stella's basically saying, like, they're dormant in scrims, or like they throw people in scrims, they come to the matches, and they just throw it all away. So yeah, pretty shambolic stuff. And even as Dapr says from Sentinels, we might be down bad right now, but at least we got 100 Thieves. So I mean, yeah, pretty brutal, to be perfectly honest, just throwing all sorts of stuff their way. And honestly, you can blame them right after the way 100 Thieves have gone, and they made these moves, and they just keep getting worse and worse. It's honestly a disaster. And as Max's Puro says, 100 Thieves should be making moves instead of playing in these tournaments, in his opinion. So look, we'll see if they decide to do that. They've not been, they've not held back from making major changes before. They probably won't do so again if they need to make moves. This is also from Rossi, though, from TSM, because of course TSM have decided, like, okay, they were pretty bad, but they've decided to stick together, play these online tournaments, try and improve, as they have done as of late, in fairness. And as he reckons, like, let them grow, the roster is still so new. Of course, like, Ethan has just kind of taken over these IGL responsibilities, but looking at the stats from this series doesn't paint a pretty picture. Here's the stats against Saw over at VLR.GG: 13-7 on Breeze, 13-10 on Haven. Not a great map at all. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this Haven as well that Asuna, I mean, 10-18 and 5 on the Jets. Like, yeah, that's not pretty, to be honest. Doesn't really seem to be so comfortable on that role. Like, I mean, yeah, these are the overall series stats as well. So, Bang leading the way. Like, I mean, look, Ethan's the IGL on this team now. There has been some talk as to whether you let JC Starny do it, whether Ethan is actually suited to this IGL role. That's the thing, like, it takes some time to get into this position, and it's just the way that it's gone for 100 Thieves, having Steel as a great IGL. Like, of course, he wasn't statistically playing great. They decided to go a different route eventually, but that was when the team was most successful, to be honest. And even when Steel was gone, they still had Nitro for a brief period of time, who of course is a legendary in-game leader from the Counter-Strike days, did a great job from this team briefly as well. Since he's gone, the team has honestly just fallen apart. The team also doesn't really have a competent, like, Jet Opper, which, they probably need right now, to be honest. Like, Asuna doesn't seem so comfortable in a role like that. So, still, so many questions what they should do. Do they need another coaching staff? Do they need, like, all this type of stuff? Like, I don't really know what this team is going to plan to do. I honestly thought the Bang and JC Starny were just short-term additions really to this roster. I thought by now already they'd be considering moves. But most people say they need a proper IGL instead of Ethan, and they need a proper Jet player, to be honest, and have Asuna more on a kind of flex position. But, I mean, yeah, still, I don't really know how you even fix this team at this point. It's not a clear one thing. You don't clearly swap out a player, and this team all of a sudden works. Like, I don't know, maybe they will stick together and try and make it happen, but just, there's no way this team is winning champions, right? Like, you look at this roster, and you're thinking, okay, is there a chance this team of 5 manages, especially in their current formats, manages to make it through to Challenges 2, get through to playoffs, get to Masters, get to Champions, and for Stage 2, like, it's just not going to happen, right? So they've got to think of something. Especially because in terms of the rankings, they're now, like, losing all points all across the park. Like, these are the top 3 in North America right now, statistically, at least based on the VLR rankings, the ELO rankings that they have. Make sure that's all on screen for you guys. But yeah, Cloud9, xNed, version 1, Optic Gaming, Sentinels, like, you barely even see 100 Thieves down here in 9th place right now. And certainly this seems viable, to be honest. They're probably going to go down even further as time progresses. They're almost below a crew. And, we've got pretty much all the other teams in the North American Challenges above them right now. Of course, Evil Genius is still slightly below, as are Luminosity, but it might not be long before they make up the difference, to be honest. The Guard, of course, flying up this list, but 100 Thieves already way off the pace, and it's only getting worse for them right now. The other team, of course, that was playing yesterday was FaZe, in fairness. The team, of course, that swapped out Larry Banks for Poach a couple of days ago, they were playing in this tournament as well, and seemingly to better success, to be honest. They made it all the way to the Grand Finals. I believe the Grand Finals is coming up later today, but they made a pretty good run. They took down TSM Academy in the kind of the semi-finals match. They all played the winner of, I believe, Saw, who of course beat 100 Thieves, and Gen.G. The winner of that game that plays FaZe in the Grand Finals, I believe, believe, coming up later on today. But yeah, pretty impressive series from babybay, Dicey especially, the one this one. Maybe to some degree proof that a short-term change like this can make the team a little bit better over time. And just this to finish out with, really still on the 100 Thieves topic in general, just because a lot of people say, look, there's a lot of young talent coming into these lineups, but the 100 Thieves guys still have some kind of veteran CS players, the likes of Hiko and Ethan have come in, and there's guys like Trent, right, that have kind of been born and bred, if anything, in the Valorant scene, that have had crazy success. Not everyone agrees though. Vanity says for every person that's given a chance like Trent, there's 10 who don't perform. Ye reckons it's more like 50 that don't perform. Most people need more time to develop. Playing ranked solo versus playing against teams on a team, that's obviously very different. Those that can actually compete will find their way up eventually. But yeah, the original tweet kind of indicating that, you know, some of these teams, some of these players should get more of a shot, right? Trent's a great example of it. Insky goes on to say, my main point was that everyone deserves chances in Val because of the larger pool of talented players, not just recycling pros, even if experience is important. Like, so that's kind of the point, right? Maybe this 100 Thieves team, is it time they go down a completely different direction? But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, tell us the YouTube gods, this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.
Fury doesn't matter at all, and the plan commits, and down in mid, Stellar takes down JC standing and bang. Three people going down. I was about to say the effect of the util, but it doesn't even matter. They just need the bodies for this one. 100T, they have to run away.
Oh, and Apathy's just chasing. They want to try and punish Soar, take away every gun that 100 Thieves have. Suck back towards Spawn. That's a lovely headshot, and now the other one to go down. Nothing. Stellar with a 4K. He was the deal breaker.